Chapter 51-46. The finger of the Tongtian Buddha made the Donglin Divine Emperor tremble. Now the remaining Tier 4 monarchs on the scene are 3 on 2, and even if they are lost, they can still retreat. Those monarchs will die if they die, and there is still no major problem with protecting their lives. Now that the Master Tongtian came out, his part-time job was killing him. Tongtian, you are crazy, cooperate with them. The Emperor Donglin was also a little panicked. He is the master of the higher world. Although there is a clone, what is here in the great wilderness is his strongest main battle clone, and the treasures he carries are of great value. If this clone falls here, plus the lost emperor, then it will be difficult for the East Forest realm to gain a foothold in the surrounding area. Donglin, you killed Dong Yang by protecting the reputation of those emperors, and I have to avenge such a grievance. Tongtian Buddha rarely revealed a vicious face. Dong Yang is the emperor of my 3,000 great worlds, and even the Tao ancestor of Dongyang realm. Now he followed me to the great wilderness to seek opportunities, but was killed by you. How do you tell me to go back? The fierce light gradually rises in the eyes of the Tongtian Buddha. Liu Yue looked at all this and thought about countermeasures. He couldn't guarantee that some of Tongtian's words were true. Dong Yang's death was indeed related to Donglin, but Tongtian did not rescue him at the critical moment. In his opinion, this Tongtian Buddha is just a smiling tiger. This is to use their power to weaken the combat power on the scene. If they lose, I am afraid it is them who are under siege now. Why, don't you plan to do it? Tongtian hesitated. At this time they were fighting in their nests. Liu Crow and Dao Gong couldn't help him. After all, they were all here for the Temple of Chishan. If they were to kill a Tier 4 emperor at this time, they might be able to shock many Xiao Xiao. After all, there is only one fifth-order emperor in the original universe, and the ancient gods are very far away from the great wilderness. Even if the treasure is used to move it again and again, it will take a long time. Most of the emperors and Dayan immortals around who can rush to this place now. First deal with these people. Let the necromancers swallow the death aura and reach the perfect state. By then, with the power of the Chishan Temple and the blessing of the great desolate heaven, even if the fifth-order emperor comes, they will be able to deal with it. Dao Gong first glanced at Zhen Wuyang in the distance, and then nodded towards Liuya. Do it, boom. Dao Gong took the lead, and Fuchen instantly covered the sky and the sun, so that the Emperor Donglin had nowhere to escape. I'm going to stop Zhen Wuyang, and you too will quickly kill the clone of Donglin. In the fourth-order emperor on the field, only Dao Gong is close to strength. The other emperors are of the fourth-order normal level, especially the Tongtian Buddha, who inherited the origin of the higher world. Although the dojo is only the middle world, the origin of the higher world still allows him to Dao is extremely powerful. Tongtian, you shameless villain. Donglin Divine Emperor couldn't escape. Facing the two top-ranking emperors of Liu Crow and Tongtian Buddha, the divine body was quickly defeated, and the armor on his body was even more impressive. Torn by Liu Crow. Dao Gong in the distance suppressed void while blocking Zhen Wuyang's path. Zhen Wuyang, don't worry, it will be your turn later. Dao Gong sneered. When Tongtian Buddha talked to them, he secretly informed them that as long as they jointly killed Donglin, he would help them deal with Zhen Wuyang. This is why they cooperated with Tongtian Buddha. Even if Tongtian Buddha used some conspiracy and tricks, their combat power on the scene was not weaker than that of each other, and Donglin was not far from death in the current situation. As long as they kill Donglin, even if Tongtian repents, they can use the Temple of Chishan to contain Tongtian, and Liu Crow and him can besiege Zhen Wuyang, first slaying the feared clone of Zhen Wuyang to avenge the enemies of the year. Dao Gong, you are as stupid as before. Zhen Wuyang let out an evil smile. In the distant void, the Emperor Donglin was unbearable and directly detonated the clone of fear of divine power. The self-detonation of the fourth-order emperor is very terrifying. The endless white air waves roll. Even if the third-order emperor falls into it, he will be instantly strangled. As a Tier 4 emperor, Liu Crow relied on the Great Desolate Way to reach the top threshold of Tier 4 in front of the necropolis, but didn't dare to resist, and quickly retreated to the rear. Tongtian, it's time to close the net. Zhen Wuyang's eyes were cold, and the breath in his body rose to the sky. The Lord of the Heavenly Buddha's 1,000 treasures robes protected his body, His body was unscathed. After hearing Zhen Huayang's transmission, he sighed, "Goodness." In the void hundreds of thousands of miles away from the battlefield. The young novice monk and Jian Wushuang are talking with Dian Immortal in the world of Tongtian Buddhism. Suddenly a horrible breath came from the direction of the distant temple of God. Boom! The airwave rolled all the way, shattering all the void in the core area of the great wilderness, and countless terrifying space cracks could not be healed for a long time. Is this the Emperor's method? Jian Wushuang was shocked. From hundreds of thousands of miles away, he could be injured by that breath. Fortunately, the weakest people present were 9-rank Dian Immortal. As for Jian Wushuang and Little Novice, both were the ultimate ways. They were no weaker than 9-rank Dian Immortal, and they could withstand this aura fluctuation. This is too horrible. A 9th-rank Dian Immortal in the East Yang world couldn't help exclaiming. Originally, they gave the Emperor the guidance to come to the depths of the great wilderness to find the opportunity to become an emperor. When you read www.yukanshu.com, they were very excited and looked forward to the opportunity of the Temple of Chishan. Now that they feel that breath fluctuates, they all have a bad premonition. Sure enough, the opportunity for Dian Xian to be promoted to emperor is not that simple. Why, Brother Zhou is scared. The speaker was the first emperor from the East Yang realm, who had the strength of the 9th rank of the Great Yang Immortal, and was also one of the most powerful Day Yang Immortals in this group of Great Yang Immortals. In addition to a few emperors in the Eastern Yang realm, his status is the highest, and he is the most promising talent in the Dongyang realm for hundreds of millions of years to become an emperor. His avenue is still the 3rd-rank avenue. As long as the combination is successful, he will have the strength of the 2nd-order emperor. Nowadays, there are still many worlds in the 3,000 great worlds that are no masters. He is a local practitioner. After becoming an emperor, he can naturally control a big world. Then he will have his own dojo. With his understanding of heaven, he can quickly become a 3rd-order emperor. Become the pinnacle powerhouse in the universe. If you are afraid, you won't be here. Zhu Yu whispered with cold eyes. His foreign trade is somewhat similar to that of the Beijing Sengshu Jian Wushuang has seen, but his strength is very different. When he first met this group of people, the little novice secretly gave him a voice transmission, and don't provoke the first 9 universe in the world of Tongtian Buddhism. Hundreds of millions of years have passed since this chief Buddhist disciple on the Tongtian mountain has achieved the 9th revolution consummation. Legend has it that he has realized the 9 great avenues, and the strength of each one has risen to the 9th revolution consummation level. It is said that he has cultivated a certain special secret method. Once the secret method is completed, he can go to the Tao. As long as the Tao is successful, his Tao can be comparable to the ultimate Tao. Chapter 51-47. Tick. The crisp sound of raindrops gradually sounded. The raindrops gradually became denser, changing from drizzle to torrential rain. For a while, there was heavy rain in the entire great wilderness, which made some monarchs or Dian Immortals in the periphery feel strange. Isn't this a great wasteland? How can it rain? A woman in grey said in surprise. Jian Wushuang and others raised their heads to look at the void. The rain turned out to be golden. Many people exclaimed. Could it be that Jian Wushuang followed a drop of rain with his hands and moved his eyes slightly? He actually saw a straight broken road from the rain. Yanli mobilized the rain around him, and a huge raindrop gathered in an instant. Jian Wushuang watched carefully, and there was still a broken road in the rain. When other people saw Jian Wushuang doing this, they all looked at Brother Wushuang, but what did they find? The woman in grey asked curiously. This is the Emperor. Zhou is an ancient fairy who has lived countless times in the Chaos era. He received a cloud of rain and pinched a magic seal with both hands. The broken avenue in the rain was actually stripped out by him, and the others were surprised to see it. Master Zhou is right, this is the Emperor's fall, and only the fall of the Emperor will make a world of golden rainfall. Jian Wushuang said with emotion. He once saw such a record in an ancient secret text. In the endless years of Daciu, the last time the Emperor fell was when Zhen Wuyang killed dozens of emperors in the Wangu era, causing golden rain to rain in the Daciu. However, the rain recorded at that time was not as great as this time. This shows that the number of emperors who have fallen in the Great Wilderness this time exceeds the number that Zhen Wuyang killed in Huanggu, or that a certain top emperor has fallen, comparable to dozens of emperors. Brother Wushuang is indeed very knowledgeable. This is indeed the emperor. I was fortunate to have seen it in the Huanggu era of your Daciu. Jiuyu was a little bit sorrowful. The scene of the last time he saw the emperor is still vivid. At that time he was the Dayan Immortal with the 9th rank consummation, and now it is Dayan Immortal bye-bye. However, he also became more affirmed of his own way. Weak strength will only be beheaded and turned into rain, only strong strength can eternal immortality. He didn't pay much attention to the emperors of the 5th rank and 4th rank avenues, and he didn't even care about the 3rd rank avenue. He became famous early, and many of his contemporaries, Jinghong Tianjiao, became emperors, but they were all ordinary emperors, and they were not considered to be strong among the gods. He was the strongest of the same rank in the world of Tongtian Buddhism since he was weak, and it was not until Dianxian met the heavenly Ji Daojun of Dongyang realm that he understood the gap of the Great Avenue. At that time, he was the 9th Renaissance Yangxian on the 3rd stage Dao, and he met the 3rd level Da Yangxian Tianji Dao of the Ultimate Road. One of them is the shocking Tianjiao of the Tongtian Buddha realm, and the other is the strongest emperor of the Dongyang realm. Even the emperor came to watch the battle between the two, and the heavenly Ji Daojun of the 3rd rank Dayan Immortal faced Jiuyu of the 9 rank Dayan Immortal. The two of them ended in a tie at that station, 3 turns to 9 turns, and finally a tie. This result made the arrogant Jiuyu unacceptable, and waited until his 9th turn to complete the challenge to the heavenly mystery Daojun again. In that battle, he completed his 9th turn, and heavenly Ji Daojun's 9th turn. There was no tie this time, and he was completely defeated. Tianji Daojun just used one move to defeat him. From then on, he began to deposit, and for many years he has been comprehending a secret method of ancient civilization on Tongtian Mountain. 10,000 ways are one. Jiuyu whispered secretly. The ultimate way can't be realized by comprehension alone. According to the words of the Buddha Master Tongtian, he has no life. After that, the Buddha of Tongtian couldn't bear to see him fall forever, so he bestowed the secret law of unity of 10,000 ways to him. After embarking on the road of unity of 10,000 ways, he realized the feeling of strength that surpassed the strength of the same rank by countless times. He can feel that this way is not worse than the ultimate way, but it is more difficult to succeed than the ultimate way. So far, no one in the primitive universe can become the emperor of the unity of 10,000 ways. Maybe this secret method is only available to a few people, maybe this way is impossible to succeed at all. But even if no one succeeded, he would go all the way. Even if he couldn't become an emperor, he didn't want to be an ordinary emperor. It turns out that the emperor will also fall. The grey-clothed woman looked at the golden rain in the sky with surprise in her eyes. She is just an ordinary rank 9 Dayan Immortal, and the way she walks is only the 4th rank avenue, not even Daozi. At most she is an elite in their big world. In his opinion, as long as it is an emperor, it is the supreme being, and now it seems that she is short-sighted. Everyone had a lot of insights when looking at the golden rain, especially the broken avenue, which was of great help to their practice. This time they were not in vain. Beyond the edge of the wilderness, the group of people in the big dream world stopped. Taozu, what is this golden rain? Is it unique in the great wilderness? A big dream girl bathed in the rain and asked in surprise. Except for a few emperors who knew the truth, the other Dayan Immortals didn't know what was going on. After all, it was too difficult for the emperor to fall. Some emperors had never seen the scene of the emperor's fall in their lives until they were beheaded. This is the emperor. Dameng Daozu looked into the depths of the great wilderness, and he could feel that a terrifying battle had taken place there. Even he might have fallen in that battle. Outside the great wilderness at this time, many forces have gathered, but when they saw the emperor's fall, they all stopped. Even the 4th Order Emperor did not dare to act rashly. Slowly, all forces began to gather and form a temporary alliance. The alliance was formed for 2 purposes only. One is the Temple of Fortune, which is also the goal of many people here, and the other is to contend against the ancient gods and several other pinnacle forces. The primitive universe, the 5 pinnacle forces, all have 5th Order Emperors. Although the deity of the Fifth Order Emperor has gone to the long river of time and space, but with the Fifth Order Emperor's clone, he still has the combat power of the Fifth Order threshold, and these kinds of strength are simply not what they can contend. And now those Fifth Order Emperors who are going to the long river of time and space are all rushing back. If they don't hug each other, they won't take any advantage in the Temple of Chishan. The role of the temporary alliance is to hold a group to keep warm, so as to compete with those Fifth Order Emperors, and then share a piece of the pie. In 3 days, most of the forces in the eastern region, where the Great Division region is located, arrived, and the people from the Aeon Tower, the strongest force in the eastern region, finally arrived. The Aeon is the pinnacle power in the primitive universe. This power is formed by several higher worlds. Today, the power of the Aeon is the personal disciple of the Fifth Order Emperor Zhutian the Great. The Fourth Order Emperor has several digits, and the Fifth Order Emperor can't come out. He is one of the most powerful people in the entire primitive universe. Chapter 51-48. Emperor Zhutian has already become a Fifth Order Emperor, and he has walked out of the primitive universe and traveled to the long time and space of Hanoi. Now that the Temple of the Gods is born, the power of the Aeon has notified the Master as soon as possible, but even the Fifth Order Emperor wants to go from time to time. It will take millions of years to drive back to the original universe in the Long River. Only let them go to the Temple of Fortune to explore the way first. The Wind and Rain Demon Lord. In the base camp of the Provisional Alliance. An old man with a terrifying aura flashed, and he went outside the Aeon Tower. The origin of the name of the pinnacle force Aeon is the towering tower in front of the old man. This is the eternal treasure obtained by the Fifth Order Emperor Zhutian from time and space long Hanoi, and it is also refined by the legendary master of the universe. This kind of treasure will be jealous even if it is a Fifth Order Emperor, because it is made by the legendary master of the universe, and contains the cosmic avenue inside, which can understand one's own avenue and suppress all things. The tower is divided into 9 floors, and the Fourth Order Emperor's wind and rain dominates, and can only display the strength of the 8th floor, and only the Emperor Zhutian can fully use the power of the Aeon. Kai Shui, are you going to be an enemy of our Aeon Tower? In the 8th floor of the Aeon Tower, the wind and rain ruler in the blue robe shouted angrily. She is a rare female emperor among the Fourth Order Emperors, her delicate face often changes, and the weak emperor can't even see her real face. No way, a group of little guys look at the old man, and they have to pull me to be fair for them. The old guy I can only stand up. Kai Shui Traveler smiled lightly. A lone traveler in the eastern region, his hometown world has long been shattered, and he has mastered a secret realm. Although he has not mastered the realm, his strength is a genuine Tier 4 top emperor. Oh, if that's the case, it's going to be my enemy. Feng Yu Demon Lord's face gradually became cold. The reason why she was called the Demon Lord was also created by ruthless means. Back then, the emperors of the eastern region sprung up like bamboo shoots after a rain, and began to look for higher territories to take the opportunity to control. An emperor who achieved the second-tier road directly controlled a higher world within the Aeon Tower's sphere of influence, and also killed the guards of the Aeon Tower over there. In that era, the Fifth Order Emperors stepped into the long river of time and space. The peak power was no longer guarded by the Fifth Order Emperor. Many powerful masters or emperors began to leave the Aeon. At that time, the Wind and Rain Demon was only a master of the higher world, and his strength was the Fourth Order is also commonplace, and the many strong inside the Aeon are very dissatisfied. Since she was a direct disciple of Emperor Zhutian, although some people did not dare to make trouble on the surface, no one would follow her secretly. The peak strength did not have the Fifth Order Emperor personally suppressed, and it was on the verge of defeat in an instant. Internal pressure and external intrusions urgently needed the certification of her strength. It also happened that the Tier 3 top emperor appeared, giving her an object of power. The Third Order Emperor first killed the Second Order Emperor who guarded the higher world, and then he began to control the higher world. Although there were many emperors in that era, there were still few emperors who were able to succeed in the second-class combination. Therefore, many of the higher worlds were without owners. As the pinnacle power, the Aeon naturally took a fancy to the potential of the higher world. Take control of the surrounding high-level worlds in his own hands, and in the future have the control of the emperor within his own power. The third-order emperor is also extremely arrogant. After taking control of the higher world, he directly stepped into the fourth-order emperor and became the master. He believed that it was not bad for the wind and rain demon, and began to provoke the Aeon. In his own dojo, the fourth-order emperor who dominated the high world was already the ceiling at that time, and even in the Aeon, there were only 3 masters. But Wind and Rain Demon Lord alone manipulated the Aeon Tower to enter the higher world. No one knew what happened inside, but when Wind and Rain Demon Lord came out, the interior of the higher world was in ruins, so don't destroy a higher world. Since that time, no one in the Aeon Tower dared to make a second, and the Wind and Rain ruler has also become the Wind and Rain Demon. In the era of chaos in the eastern region, the emperor who died in her hands was no less than double digits. On the other hand, Kaishui Walker is a lone ranger. From the Eastern Territory turmoil era to the present, there is nothing to come up with. Although his strength has reached the top of Tier 4, his prestige and fame are not great, but he is famous for sneak attacks. He has nothing to do with him. Concerned, there are hundreds of special lives in the secret realm that he controls, not even a family member, so he has always been aimless and happy. He has many enemies, but most of them will not seek revenge on him. After all, Barefoot is not afraid of wearing shoes. Even if some superpower suffers a dark loss in his hands, he can only swallow this breath. However, this time Kaishui became the leader of the Temporary Alliance and directly provokes the peak strength, which still surprised the Wind and Rain Demon Lord. Kaishui Walker was barefoot, wearing a tattered robe, like an old beggar, but no one dared to look down on his strength. Wind and Rain, don't speak so absolutely. The birth of the Temple of Chishan is a gift of the supreme rule. No one can enjoy it exclusively, even the fifth-order emperor can't. Kaishui Traveler changed his normal and his face was serious. In the Aeon Tower, the Lord of Wind and Rain stood in front of the tower window, looking at the proud and empty Scarlet Water Walker, frowning. Kaishui, this old immortal thing. A third-order emperor's teeth tickled. They are among the pinnacle forces, the closest to here. They have the most hope for this opportunity of the Temple of the Gods. At this time, a temporary alliance has suddenly appeared, gathering half of the superpowers in the eastern region, even if they are the pinnacle forces, but before the fifth-order emperor returned, they couldn't take advantage of the temporary alliance. In the turbulent times, this old guy was lobbying around alone, causing a lot of wars, and now there are people who believe him. You think those people are fools, they are just using each other. The Temporary Alliance gathered half of the powerhouses in the eastern region, and all of them were human spirits. There were more than 10 fourth-order emperors alone. With so many powerhouses, they elected Kaishui as the leader, obviously because they were afraid that the fifth-order emperors would return in the future. Implicated in yourself. Kaishui is different. He is a lone traveler. It's a big deal to wait for the return of the fifth-order emperor. He just lifts his pants and runs away. His Lone Ranger doesn't need any territory, and he can mix in that universe. Forget it, at the moment it is still dominated by the Temple of Chishan. If we drag on the other powerhouses, they will come together, but it will be even more unfavorable for us. The Wind and Rain ruler made up his mind, and his figure appeared outside the Aeon in a flash. Everyone in the tower didn't dare to say anything. Fengyu Demon Lord was no longer the little girl who lived in the shadow of the master before. Kaishui, I don't want to go to war with you, so let those who are acquainted with you, let us explore together. Chapter 5149. Many powerhouses in the Provisional Alliance are also paying attention to this negotiation. If they are not hugged together, the Wind and Rain Demon Lord will care about them. Maybe the Aeon will directly block the Great Wilderness, so that they can't get in. After talking for a while, the 2 top Tier 4 experts returned to their respective camps. Brother Kaishui, how about it? Did Wind and Rain Demon Lord agree? Many emperors asked one after another. After all, this time the chance was bigger than anything else. In the turbulent era, the battle is for territory, but now it is the opportunity to be promoted to the Lord of the Universe. If you really become the Lord of the Universe and control the primitive universe, let alone invincible in the primitive universe, it is the existence of legends in the long river of time and space. Everyone, Fengyu has agreed to explore the Temple of Chishan together. As for the chants, each has his own ability. Kaishui Xingzhe said with a smile. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard it, and they were also afraid that the Aeon Tower would stand head-on. Fortunately, Brother Kaishui waited for me, otherwise Wind and Rain Demon Lord wouldn't be able to let me explore the Temple of Chishan together. The goal of everyone was achieved, and Kaishui Walker was also the superficial leader, and they complimented a few words. Everyone, set out now and enter the great wilderness. Kaishui Walker waved his hand, and a huge palace rose from the ground and appeared behind him. This palace is an ordinary treasure palace, which is good for everyone to gather together. It's not that they don't have a more powerful palace, but that no one dared to enter other people's supreme palace rashly. In case the supreme might be mobilized to suppress them all, it would be a big joke. If they are separated and they appear to be scattered, Kaishui Traveler knows them best and takes the initiative to take out an ordinary treasure palace. Even a Tier 1 emperor can easily break the palace defenses. This will bring everyone together and look like a force. However, this palace also has shortcomings, that is, it is not enough. The huge palace can only follow behind the Aeon. After entering the great wilderness together, the many powerful men in the eastern region felt extremely desolate, even a little cold. After the baptism of the emperor, countless distracting thoughts breed in the void, and these distracting thoughts have formed many unconscious ghosts. The strength of these ghosts is not strong, and most of them are at the Dian immortal level. How many emperors have to die before so many distracting thoughts will appear? Kaishui Walker manipulated the hall, standing at the highest point looking at the ghosts formed by distracting thoughts. He has survived from the turbulent times and has seen many big scenes. But this time the Temple of Chishan was just born, they just gathered, and before they went to explore, there was a terrifying battle inside, and it seemed that many emperors died. If all the emperors of the primitive universe came to this great wilderness, how many emperors would have to die? Brother Kaishui just got the news that the emperor of the East Forest realm was annihilated, and even the main battle clone of the East Forest ruler has fallen. Oh, yes, the wind demon was killed by a mysterious man after severely wounding the far shield. Wind demon? Kaishui Walker thought of this person and replied, I remember this little guy just broke through Tier 4 and didn't have a clone. Yes, this fool really fell. His world collapsed because of its deep fusion with his Tao, and countless lives fell. In the fight for opportunity, everyone is thinking about the benefits, and no one has ever thought about the fate of failure. The world collapsed, and countless people fell. This is the loser. Although the chances of the Temple of Chishan are great, there are a few people who can succeed in the end. You will be successful. This sentence is the most accurate no matter if it is applied to any strong person. The success of a strong person is bound to have many losers. These emperors, which one of them did not come out of the sea of blood in the Corpse Mountain, the truth is clearer than anyone else. But after tasting the benefits of being strong, they became more eager to be strong and became the Tao ancestor thinking of becoming a master. After becoming the ruler, they wooed people around to form forces. Holding a group to keep warm is just an external rhetoric. It is true that each one needs what he needs. Now that they have the opportunity to reach the sky in one step, how can they not try their best to break through? The strong on both sides scanned the great wilderness, with mixed feelings in their hearts. After the emperor's baptism, Jian Wushuang encountered big troubles. Even though those distracting thoughts are only at the level of Dian Immortal, they can't hold back the large number. Among them, there are many more perfect Dian Immortals. Everyone, protect Brother Wushuang and Hua Qing. I have told the Lord Buddha that there will be an emperor coming to rescue us. Jiuyu is the strongest among them, and the seniority is also the highest. Now he directly ordered everyone to set up a simple and large formation to resist those ghosts. Jie Jie. Countless distracting thoughts crawled out of the void. Their bodies were twisted and shaped like little ghosts, wandering in the void in illusory robes. Once they met a practitioner, they would surge up wildly. The lowest level of Dian Immortal present was rank 9 and there were over 1,000 people. Half of the 3,000 world's elites were here, and each of them was better than the veteran of Darciu. If the Great Siu in the ancient times was enough to disregard all the medium worlds in the universe, as for now, except Jin Wuyang, everyone can be obtained. Brother Wushuang, you follow me. The grey-clothed woman beckoned. They only knew that Jian Wushuang was from Da Siu and saved little novice Hua Qing halfway. The emperors told them to take good care of these two people, especially to protect Hua Qing. However, Hua Qing was a rank 6 Dayan immortal, but was saved by Jian Wushuang, a rank 3 Dayan immortal. This made them a little puzzled, but it was not easy to ask them face to face. After all, they saved the 3,000 worlds. People. Jian Wushuang was a little funny in his heart. The woman in grey clothes in front of him was only a 4th rank 9th rank Dayan immortal, and she took the initiative to protect him. But he couldn't shirk other people's kindness, and nodded and stood behind the grey-clothed woman. I will trouble Luo Shui Dao friends later. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and then retreated behind Luo Shui. Luo Shui is an elite in the East Yang world, and in the sect, he is also a veteran, but he is not very old, and he has practiced for only 60 million years. For many 9th rank Dayan immortals, this is just a simple retreat. That's it. Jian Wushuang stood behind a woman. Even if the other Dayan immortals were polite, they still rolled their eyes at his actions. But he didn't care about all of this. As long as he had the opportunity, he would be ready to slip away and leave the Great Wasteland early. In today's Great Famine, he has a hunch that if he doesn't leave, he might not be able to leave. After taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang took a closer look at Fairy Luo Shui in front of him. Judging from the back, Fairy Luo Shui has a graceful figure, but this grey linen is too loose, and she won't be able to see it if she doesn't look carefully. With the white neck and some unwound hair, it can be seen that Luo Shui is definitely a rare beauty. Chapter 5150. It's a pity. Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. If these people didn't leave, Barqing would have to die here. This kind-hearted Luo Shui fairy, with mediocre strength, not even as good as Jiu Yuan, is also the bottom of their group. Otherwise, she wouldn't be allowed to stay with Jian Wushuang either. Little novice Huiqing's eyes turned, just to look at Jian Wushuang, and nodded with a slight smile. Since he stepped into the Dao, Jian Wushuang felt that the little novice monk had changed a lot, and his personality, mood, and strength had undergone earth-shaking changes. The heart of killing shall not be leaked, and the heart of defense shall not be lost. Now when he recalled the scene when the young novice monk's strength exploded, he couldn't believe it. If a person can burst out of potential in a dangerous situation, increase his strength by 30% to 50%, or directly break through the original realm, just like he suddenly became a Dayan immortal, this can also be explained. But the little novice's original strength was at most an ordinary fairy cultivator. From the ordinary fairy cultivator stepped into the 9th rank Dayan fairy, although he fell to the realm later, but the 6th rank Dayan fairy was genuine. There are so many such temporary breakthroughs, not to mention that he hasn't seen it before, and he hasn't even thought about it. He thought it was because of himself when Da Huang had changed. Now it seems that the little novice monk is more like the protagonist. There are too many secrets behind all of this. The sudden emperor fall and that terrifying white wave of air all show that the emperors and the resurrected existence have already handed over the hands of the real Wuyang Tongtian Buddha. I just don't know who won and who has fallen. People at this level can't get involved at all, and staying in the wilderness is even more burdensome. Jian Wushuang slowly closed his eyes. No matter what, it is important to restore his strength first. While restoring his mind and mind power leisurely, Jiuyu and others outside the crowd desperately slayed ghosts. There is no way there are too many. Just after killing one batch, another batch emerged from the crack. Brother Jiuyu, it's no way to go on like this. Yeah, there are too many ghosts, we can't kill them at all. Everyone was comfortable at first, but these ghosts were unaware, fearless to death, and extremely powerful, and several of them possessed the strength of the 9 ranks consummation Dayan immortal. After Jiuyu killed the nearby 9-ranking Dayan immortal level ghosts, he glanced around, sinking in his heart. Not good. At the same time, on the other side of the wilderness, the temporary formation of the Kaishui Alliance and the Aeon Tower are extremely easy, with a large number of emperors and powerful people opening their way. and there is no need for Dian Immortal to work hard. This great wasteland is so dangerous. The girl from the Great Dream Realm lay on the hallway of the main hall, looking at the ghosts that were shattered by the Emperor's aura. You girl, if we don't have ancestors, we are faced with so many ghosts, let alone looking for the Temple of the Gods, it is extremely difficult to live here. A middle-aged Dian Immortal frowned. He didn't know if the ancestors did it right, let them, like the Dian Immortal who had been living in the Great Dream Realm, come to look for the Temple of Chishan in this great wilderness. Whether it is Dian Immortal or Monarch, after entering the great wilderness, the mood began to change slightly. In the rift of the void. Kai, a snake wandered in the void, with black horns on the top of the snake's head, and his huge eyes turned a few times and continued to swim forward. There are still not enough people. A black smoke suddenly appeared on the top of the snake's head. After the smoke disappeared, a middle-aged Taoist stood on the top of the snake's head. He wears a white robe, a high crown, and a purple eye on the center of his brow. He peeped from afar when the great wilderness first waved, but he was not in this universe yet. Are all the people in this election so useless? 18 gods will all be killed, the strongest gods are only the level of a fourth-order emperor, and the master's face has been lost by this group of people. The middle-aged Taoist stood. Muttered to himself on the head of the big snake. Hey Chi snake, your mental strength is getting more and more interesting. The middle-aged Taoist touched the horns of the big snake, and the purple eyes at the center of his eyebrows kept turning. Since I'm awake, why don't you come out to see me? The middle-aged Taoist shouted angrily at a dark corner in the void. There was dead silence in the dark corner. As soon as the middle-aged Taoist's voice fell, a hunched old man walked out of it, and he was still holding a light lantern in his hand. I am the servant of the old master, not your servant, you have to be clear. The humpbacked old man walked staggeringly in front of the middle-aged Taoist holding the Ming lantern. There are too many secrets revealed in this question and answer, but unfortunately, in this gap, there is no one other than the two of them, even the fifth-order emperor, it is impossible to conceal the two of them. You dog minion, secretly reviving the temple, I thought you could make the group of waste take a few steps, and the result was that most of them died as soon as they recovered. The middle-aged Taoist looked down on the humpbacked old man and said sarcastically. He followed the Temple of Chishan from the long river of time and space to the original universe. At that time, he was seriously injured and has been deposited in the void. Until now, his injuries have not completely recovered. Originally thinking of letting those gods inherit the way of the gods, come to get some benefits from the Temple of the Gods. He came forward to kill those inheritors and seize the treasures. But I didn't expect these people to be too wasteful, and it was almost a reincarnation to inherit the Temple of Chishan, and there was not even a fifth-order emperor. You must know that the threshold for inheritance of the Chishan temple is very high. The so-called 18 gods are just the watchdog of the outer hall. Only after the fifth-order emperor can he enter the inner hall to select treasures. It is a pity that none of these wastes reach the fifth-order emperor. Okay, a few nonsense. I am the only living disciple of the God of God. His treasure should belong to me. Let's talk about how many treasures you get from the inner temple. I don't want too much. It is enough to restore my strength. The middle-aged Taoist said in a cold voice. Selfishness and greed spread from the outside to the inside, and he was extremely domineering, and did not save any face to the humpbacked old man. Yuzuo, I am not here to give you treasures, but to inform you that you have been removed from the Temple of Chishan. The hunched old man said slowly, his expression unchanged. Exclusion? You are worthy of removing my name, you are just a lingering slave. The middle-aged Taoist named Wu Zhuo couldn't help but roar. Wu Zhuo had a foreboding in his heart, but he still couldn't believe it. After all, he had nothing now. If the Temple of Chishan had removed him, how could he profit? The calmness on the face of the hunched old man gradually disappeared, replaced by a breath of death, which made the folds of the ravines tremble slightly. Wu Zhuo stepped back involuntarily for a moment. I don't have the right to remove you, but the true spirit in the Chishan temple can. The humpbacked old man's voice was cold, like a sharp blade in the cold wind, piercing Wu Zhuo's chest one after another. Chapter 51-51. Hearing the word true spirit, Wu Zhe had a meal, and then he was shocked. How could it be that the true spirit was injured more severely than me? How could it be able to wake up? I have brought the words, you are not qualified to know the rest. As soon as the humpbacked old man said, his figure slowly retreated to the corner of the crack. Before leaving, the humpbacked old man seemed to think of something. By the way, Zhenling said, for the sake of the old master, I will give you another chance. You can accept the trial of the Temple of Difference with other practitioners. After leaving this sentence, the humpbacked old man completely disappeared in the void. Take the trial together. Wu Zhe's expression changed. He was once a registered disciple of the god of Qi, and was very familiar with the trials of the Temple of God of Qi. The trial of Qishan Temple does not depend on how strong you are to get the benefits. The threshold is set high, and the requirements for potential are also extremely high. He touched the sixth order threshold at the peak of his strength, and now the divine body injury has not been resolved. He only has the top level of the fifth order. Although pretentious, he also knows that he has no potential anymore. In ancient times, as a disciple of Qishan, he had heard the preaching of the starry sky overlord of Qishan, and his strength was still stuck in the fifth order emperor. His Tao is extraordinary. It is a special road in the second rank, and it is a fusion of two ordinary second-rank roads. It is expected to reach the top in the future, but it is a pity that he has been stuck in the fifth-order emperor. With the help of the gods, he has realized the sixth-order rules, but it is difficult to control. Behind the Qishan fell, the starry sky was silent. His strength was not obvious among the Qishan disciples. He was only a named disciple, but survived that catastrophe and followed the Qishan temple to the primitive universe. That's okay, the waste is used sparingly. Wu Zhe's face was sullen. With his strength, he is not afraid of any strong in the original universe, and his talent potential, except for the ultimate emperor, he can ask no one to surpass him. After all, there are too few ultimate emperors. In ancient times, the status of ultimate emperors was extremely high, and even the gods favored them. Most of the ultimate emperors who appeared in the many universes of Hanoi in the long time space at that time worshipped the gods. However, these people have fallen, as powerful as three masters, and the existence that controls the universe of one side has been extinguished. Wow! Wu Zhe tore through the void, and he was not hiding and heading directly towards the Temple of Qishan. The true trial of the true spirit resurrecting the Qishan temple will begin. As for the inheritance accepted by the great Siuangu era, it is only the ordinary inheritance of the outer temple. At that time, the true spirits did not recover, and the treasures they got were limited. Now the true spirits recover and the inner hall is opened. This is the true inheritance of the Qishan temple. Countless treasures, powerful inheritance. Qishan has collected all the treasures of endless years in the inner temple. Outside the temple of Qi at this time, a towering tower slowly came to a halt, and it was the eternal tower that entered the wilderness. The size of the two is not much different, but the breadth is like a huge difference. The Aeon is like a battleship in the vast ocean. It is huge and has the momentum to conquer the entire sea, and the breadth of the Temple of Qishan is like the entire wilderness, taking over everything. As for the temporarily formed Kaishui alliance, like a sea turtle, following the battleship, wandering in the ocean. These people's movements are really fast. Tongtian Buddha sat in the void and glanced lightly at the hall of the Aeon Tower and Kaishui alliance. Liu Crow's eyes were red, and he didn't mean to pay attention to Tongtian Buddha. Thinking back to the battle just now, he is in a daze now. At first, Tongtian Buddha cooperated with them to kill the Emperor Donglin. Everything went well. Zhen Wuyang couldn't make any move under the control of Dao Gong. He and Tongtian Buddha plus the emperors of Qishan Temple forced Donglin to explode. But when he thought that the situation had been reversed, Tongtian Buddha suddenly wrapped the entire Temple of Qishan with 1,000 treasures robes, and he used the Qianbao robes to enter the interior of the Temple of Qishan. This made Liu Yue a little unprepared, while returning to the Temple of Qi while the low-end white terrifying air wave. The same was true on Daogong's side. Zhen Wuyang suddenly broke out, directly crushing Daogong, and after blasting them both, Zhen Wuyang also followed the Qianbao robes and entered the Temple of Qishan. Then there was a sudden rise in Chishan Temple's breath, and then the emperor fell. The changes in the Chishan Temple made him and Daogong both surprises and worries. After the skyrocketing, the Chishan Temple exudes the atmosphere of a sacrificial platform, which is obviously different from the past. But the two of them couldn't get in at all, and the entire Chishan Temple was wrapped in 1,000 treasures robes. Just when they were both anxiously turning around, Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian, who entered the Chishan Temple, were suddenly teleported out. The two of them were still stained with brown blood. It is conceivable that everyone inside might be dead. Losing the protection of the Chishan Temple, a group of second-tier and third-tier emperors faced Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian, and they were completely slaughtered. Although they have practiced the devouring Tao of the Chishan, each of them is extremely strong in the same rank, but they can't resist the two top emperors of the fourth rank. When Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang just left the Temple of Qi, did not do anything, they sat cross-legged in the void, which made Liuya and Daogong very puzzled. This confrontation. It's really slow enough. Zhen Wuyang was a little impatient. After the two of them entered the hall, they directly killed the emperors, and then no matter how they tried to refine the hall, they were unsuccessful, and there was no treasure in it. Just when the two were about to forcibly break the sacrificial platform, an ancient aura radiated from it, condensing a powerful true spirit. The two of them could not move in front of the true spirit, and then they were sent out in the dark. Temple of Qi. However, the true spirit also left a word for both of them. The trial is about to begin, waiting for the others to arrive. Now it seems to be waiting for these people. He still knew that the Aeon Tower was the pinnacle power. As for the so-called Kaishui Alliance, he didn't know most of the other emperors except the Kaishui Walker. But it seems that almost all the powerhouses in the eastern region of the primordial universe have arrived. Laugh. The Aeon Pagoda slowly landed and stopped on the Shenggu Road, and many emperors inside jumped out. Are you the real Wuyang of Darciu? The Master of Wind and Rain glanced at Chishan Temple, and then asked, with a very domineering tone. When she left, she collected information about the Great Wilderness, which was regarded as the realm of Zhen Wuyang, and the Temple of Chishan also appeared in the Daci domain at first, and the news was also sent by Zhen Wuyang himself. Now comes, naturally ask Zhen Wuyang first. It's under. Zhen Wuyang slowly got up, put away his fierceness, and replied calmly. The name of the Wind and Rain Demon Lord, he knew after he became an emperor. He studied under the Fifth Order Emperor Zhutian, and controlled the Aeon, the first power in the eastern region. Chapter 51-52. If the power of the Aeon Tower is mobilized, Fengyu Demon Lord's strength has reached the Fifth Order threshold, far surpassing everyone present. The powerhouses near Darciu once thought that the Emperor Donglin was the first powerhouse, followed by the Master Fengmo of the Tongtian Buddha and himself. However, after this battle, both he and Tongtian Buddha's strengths have reached the top of Tier 4, which is stronger than the average master. Especially the supreme treasure robes of the Tongtian Buddha has reached the pinnacle level. Few of the Fourth Order emperors have it, and these treasures plus their own strength are enough to rank in the top 10 of the eastern region. The strength is good. Let's talk about the Temple of Chishan. Fengyu Demon Lord didn't talk nonsense, and came here all the way. Naturally everything is dominated by the Temple of Chishan. Without waiting for Zhen Wuyang to reply, Tongtian Buddha turned away and said, Great Wind and Rain Demon Lord, here are two inheritors from the Temple of Chishan. After I came here, we confronted him. Unfortunately, we were not strong enough and didn't get it from them. Any useful information? Tongtian Buddha clasped his hands together, with a harmless face of humans and animals. It was not at all aware that he was still doing a big killing here, and the 6 crows and Daogong couldn't change hands. When Zhen Wuyang heard this, he didn't know how to say it for a while, and to the extent of shamelessness, he only now understood the gap with the other party. Siege of Donglin and let the Emperor of Chishan Temple put down his guard can be thought of, and now he has poured dirty water on Liu Crow and Daogong. Knowing all this, Zhen Wuyang is now a little admired by the sky. Even he couldn't bear it anymore. After all, Liu Ya and Daogong said they were his old predecessors. They came from Da Sai Yu together, and they were more or less unbearable. Zhen Wuyang's expression sank, he glanced at Tongtian Buddha, and finally said firmly, "Tongtian is right." Liu Ya and Daogong's faces flushed, and they stood up and prepared to speak. Unexpectedly, he was drowning in the red water traveler in the distance, and he couldn't lift his head under the pressure. Yes, the aura is very consistent with the exudation in the Chishan temple. It seems that these two are the inheritors. Kai Shui traveler felt that there was no danger, and his figure appeared in front of Fengyu demon in a flash, and he squeezed it. Christine's neck. It's just that this strength is too weak, and it hasn't even reached the ordinary level of Tier 4. Kai Shui Walker is a little disgusted. This is a little different from the powerful inheritance he imagined. They have been framed by Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang, and now they are dismissed for their weak strength. This is the strongest Taoist who has comprehended the Tao of the Chishan. His face is flushed with anger, and his strength is not enough. If he can retreat from the whole body this time, he vowed to testify to the Temple of Taoism and wash away today's shame. Liu Crow was very scheming, and he didn't expect to have a Tongtian Buddha who was more shameless than Zhen Wuyang, but fortunately, this is a great wasteland, his dojo, and his strength is barely able to reach the top level. Enough, this is my dojo. If you want to get the Temple of Chishan, go ahead and talk about it. Originally, he still wanted to be a little domineering and let these people step on his body to enter the Temple of Chishan, but when he thought of Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang could enter the Temple of Chishan under his nose, and he didn't have the guts to say such a thing again. Kai Shui Walker and Fengyu Demon Lord gave him the feeling that it surpassed Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha. Either one of these two can crush him, and even threaten to fall. Oh, forget you. Kai Shui Walker captured Daogong. As the number one player on the scene, she naturally couldn't fall. The eternal tower of unlimited power shrank instantly, becoming the size of a palm, directly suppressing the 6 crows under the tower. Okay, let's talk now. There were more than 100 emperors present, and there were thousands of rank 9 Dayan Immortals. Many of them were elites in Dayan Immortal, and the weakest were the 9 rank Dayan Immortals who entered the 4th stage avenue. At this time, I saw wind and rain. The Demon Lord and Kai Shui Traveler casually suppressed the 4th Order Emperor, and both leaked unprecedented respect. Is this the 4th Order peak powerhouse? Suppress the same level at will. Daogong didn't say anything, an emperor who crossed the 4th Order threshold, but Liu Crow touched a top-level emperor, and was unexpectedly suppressed. The distance between Zhen Wuyang and the Tongtian Buddha unknowingly narrowed a lot. The two of them were on the same boat at this time. Although their strengths were both at the top level of Tier 4, they did not resist much against these two peak Tier 4 emperors. All are sure, can only hold a group for warmth. Since Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang entered, Daogong and I can't enter anymore. It's useless if you kill both of us. Liu Ya knew what a general situation was irreversible, and at this time he was also subdued. He was also telling the truth. He didn't know the changes in the Chishan temple either, only Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang knew about it. After the two of them entered the Chishan temple, Fenghua and others fell one after another. The entire Chishan temple was wrapped in 1,000 treasures robes and could not be broken at all. Now these two people have pushed everything to his head, and he is also having a terrible headache. Kai Shui had already reached the level of Minghua's original mind, and he could tell at a glance that it didn't look like a lie, but if it was as Liu Crow said, then it would be troublesome. The treasure is at your fingertips, but he can't move. The power of the Temple of Chishan surpassed any treasure they saw. Even if all the emperors present together cannot shake the Temple of Chishan at all, it is like there is no void in it. Although it can be seen and touched, it can't get in. Wind and rain, God Emperor Zhutian can be notified about the affairs of Chishan Temple. Kai Shui is now anxious and it is useless, so he can only ask Fengyu Morjuan in a side-by-side manner. He may not know the answer Fengyu Morjuan, but her master Zhutian Divine Emperor, as a 5th Order Emperor, has been walking in the long river of time and space for many years, and he must have more knowledge than these emperors who do not often go out of the universe. The reputation of the Chishan Temple is very big in the long river of time and space. There are various legends. Some experts even believe that the Chishan Temple is related to ancient civilizations. This is also the same. The atmosphere of the Chishan Temple is indeed very similar to that of ancient civilizations. However, The Temple of Chishan has only appeared once or twice in the long river of time and space. Every time they appear, countless monarchs will come to watch, but there is no way for this temple of the gods to enter. There are also people who try to suppress and subdue them. In the end, they can't even touch them. In the end, they can only watch. Flying towards the endless starry sky with Chishan Temple. Some of these legends, Kaishui Walker also knew a little, but it was the first time he saw the Temple of Chishan, and the Temple of Chishan actually stood there. It doesn't look like it can run, and now the inheritors of the Temple of Chishan have also confirmed that they have accepted the inheritance inside, so they still have a great chance. Especially the fifth-order emperors in the primitive universe are all in the time and space of Hanoi. Now he still has the qualification to speak. If he waits until the fifth-order emperors return, he can only follow behind. At that time, he has no right to speak at all. Chapter 51-53. Regardless of the fact that many forces have taken refuge in him and formed the Kaishui alliance, once a fifth-order emperor appears, these people are faster than running. Now he just wants to fight with his strength. He has no ethnic group or power, and he has no race or power. Only if the strength is strong will it be respected by all the forces. After all, his ability alone is limited and he is better controlled. If he succeeds, he will be selected first. Anyway, the number of people will divide the result. Most of the forces in the Kaishui alliance think this way. Even if Kaishui wants to swallow them alone, they have the strength to resist. Kaishui Traveler, who has always been known as the most conspiracy and trickery, is also on the thief ship this time. He has no choice but to bite the bullet. If there is no one peak power at this time, even if he is a tier 4 peak emperor, he won't get any benefit from so many strong people. Only by drawing one power can compete with other peak powers. He understood that the two sides used each other. But in the end, when it comes to dividing the treasures, I am afraid that there will be a big melee. There will be no allies by then, and everyone in front of them can be killed. In the crevice of the pitch-black void, Wu sat cross-legged on top of the black snake. This black snake was the puppet given to him by the god when he became the sixth-order emperor. It's a pity that there are a lot of internal damages now, without the strength of the past, if he can repair it at the peak of strength, but the damage of the divine body is too serious. To restore the strength of the sixth stage in the peak period, a lot of treasures are needed. These treasures are not to be found in the universe, even in the long river of time and space. He can only hope in the Temple of Chishan. Being able to participate in the trial together this time is considered not to be removed in vain. Once the strength is restored to the peak, few people in this river area are his opponents, and he can also rely on the inheritance of the gods to aspire to the peak of the universe. Seeing these aboriginal monarchs quarreling constantly, he was also a bit funny, but they could break the temple of the god of God, just a bunch of ants. When Chishan Temple was refining, he had seen several masters under the Kishan's command destroy a universe, pulled away from its origin, and injected it into the Chishan Temple. The origin of a universe, how strong that kind of energy is, even the Lord of the Universe needs several people to pull it away. If it is destroyed, the Lord of the Universe can do it. The difficulty is that it does not destroy it. Take it out next. The power of the origin is the core of the universe, and the core of the Temple of Chishan is also a origin. The power of this origin surpasses the universe and is comparable to several beautiful universes. Those emperors from the Great Siyu entered only an outer hall, and there were no treasures in it. The only useful thing about that outer hall is probably its origin. There are many outer halls of the Temple of Qi, and every outer hall has a small origin. These origin powers are all hatched from the core origin of the Chishan Temple, and the origin also contains the Chishan Dao. In Wu Zuo's view, directly practicing the Chishan Dao is the most stupid way. What's more, these people claim to be 18 gods, 108 messengers, which is really ignorant to Wu Zuo. The Temple of Qi was indeed guarded by 3 major gods, 18 gods, and 108 messengers, but if you want to get the inheritance of these people, you must at least have the strength of a fifth-order emperor. Now the envoys who have been entrusted by these natives are all 9 ranks consummation, and there are even many 9 ranks Dayan immortals. They have inherited the origin contained in the outer hall, and the enlightenment of the envoys of the great gods and envoys who sit in the seat and try to reach the top is simply ridiculous. If it is really possible to achieve the top of the universe with the devouring avenue that contains only some fur of the gods in the outer hall, I am afraid that the gods will marvel at this person's understanding, but it is a pity that he has fallen. When the people quarreled, they didn't realize that in the gap between the void, there was a super strong man laughing at them, and this super strong was the only living disciple of this god. Wind and rain, don't say it so absolutely. The Emperor Zhutian has been away for so long. Even if he rushes back now, even if he teleports all the way, it will take 1,000,000 years. If the treasure is used to teleport, it will take thousands of years. Let's go in now. That is also for the Divine Emperor to explore the way in advance. Now if you don't say some useful information, if I wait for danger in it, this is also a great loss to the Divine Emperor. Wu Zhuo suppressed his voice, turning his eyes and whispering, "Or, the Emperor God gave you news about the Temple of Chishan, but you kept it private." The voice was indeed lowered, but all the emperors present and even the 9 turns Yangxian could clearly hear this sentence. If all the people present are mortals, then you may not be able to hear it. But the one here is not a super strong person, even if the sound is as loud as a mosquito, you can still hear it from there. What's more, these words were spoken by Kaishui Traveler, and the words spoken by a 4th order peak emperor. If they were in a small world, they could all be said to follow the law. Especially the sentence just now, it was almost impossible for people outside the region to know. If you really don't want them to hear, just a barrier will completely isolate them. As soon as this sentence came out, no matter who it was, her heart trembled. No matter whether she believed it or not, she would be isolated. Even the Emperor of the Aeon has a crisis of confidence in the wind and rain demon. Ukanshu. Although these people are the overlords of a world, they are peerless powerhouses who stand out among countless arrogances, but they are equally vulnerable in front of the Dao Dao. If you are a person, you will have a comparison. When you hear this sentence, you will compare yourself whether you believe it or not. If you are the wind and rain demon lord and know some information about the Temple of the Gods, such as how to get in, will he tell other people himself? This is to seek the philosophy on the road. Only martial arts is in a single word. The stronger you are, the lonely you will be. This loneliness is reflected in the fierceness of fighting for opportunities. The demon lord of wind and rain is the demon lord, that is, she disdains to do these indiscriminate things, and can kill him, so she will never say a word. Kaishui, you are looking for death. Wang. The Aeon Tower has infinite power, and it flies out of the palm of the wind and rain demon monarch in an instant, and it is suspended above the head of Kaishui Traveler in the form of 1,000 battles. I only said this once. Master did not respond to anything in the Temple of Chishan. Fengyu Demon Lord's delicate face revealed a trace of murderous aura. From the outside, it's hard to imagine this girl with a slender body suppressing the major forces in the entire eastern region. Who knows? Kaishui Walker retreated into the Alliance Hall. Don't worry, since I was recommended by everyone as the leader, I will naturally protect you. You can stand behind me. Today I want to see how strong this wind and rain demon is and how powerful the Aeon is. Chapter 51-54. WN Dao Sword Sovereign. What Kaishui Traveler said was impassioned, and anyone who didn't understand his character would probably believe it. First, the wind and rain demon lord was placed, and now all the forces in the alliance were used as a shield. If you really want to fight the wind and rain monarch, just go out and fight. Why do you have to return to the hall? Everyone was cursing secretly in their hearts, but clearly they had to say that the leader was righteous. This scene made Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang watch again and again. No loss is the 4th order peak emperor, who can do everything without leakage. Under this operation, Tongtian and Zhen Wuyang secretly made up their minds that no one could cooperate with Kaishui Traveler. This person's shamelessness exceeds the sum of the two of them. There are not a few strong people in Darciu, and only Zhen Wuyang is alone. He is not a big power, he is okay. The Tongtian Buddha is different. He governs 3,000 great worlds, and there are dozens of emperors and powerful under his command. Although Dongyang and Wuliang each lead a faction, the general trend is irreversible now, and they can't get over any waves at all. Dongyang himself fell again, and Dongyang realm naturally fell into his hands. Boundless own strength was still much worse, and he was also needed. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he can just unify his own forces, but under the premise of all this, he still has to focus on the Temple of Chishan. Behind Kaishui Xingzhe appeared 6 fourth-order emperors, 2 of them were top-level. He faced Wind and Rain Demon Lord alone, the chance of winning was only 10%, and his life was 100% certain. Although he was not afraid of Wind and Rain Demon Lord, at this time, he must not let other people in the Kaishui alliance stand on the mountain and watch the tiger fight. Brother Kaishui, I'll wait to help you. Several emperors began to speak one after another. Although they didn't say anything in words, Xinli was extremely contemptuous of Chishui's behavior. Wind and Rain Devil, don't think that our small forces are easy to bully. Then several third-order emperors appeared one after another, standing behind Kaishui and several fourth-order emperors. Seeing this, the strong on the Aeon side also appeared one after another. Several Tier 4 emperors and dozens of Tier 3 emperors appeared behind Fengyu Morjuan, and they also exuded powerful pressure. Although these monarchs were dissatisfied with Fengyu's sudden action, but Fengyu Demon Lord was the person in charge of the Aeon, and at this time, even if he was dissatisfied, he had to take action. Wind and Rain, wait a minute. When the battle was about to start, Kaishui Traveler suddenly called a halt, letting everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Now that the Temple of Chishan is right in front of you, no benefits are gained. None of them want to have a conflict at this time. The melee of so many powerful people will definitely fall. The Emperor and the strong are not easy to cultivate, and no one wants to fall, let alone. I fell myself. The melee of so many powerhouses, even the fourth-order emperor may fall accidentally, let alone those third-order and second-order emperors. As for ordinary first-order emperors and Dayan immortals, they don't even have the ability to participate in the war. The battle of the top emperors, any aftermath of the battle can annihilate them, let alone participate in this level of battle, they don't even have the right to watch. Fengyu Demon Lord glanced back and glanced at her own powerhouse. She could feel that these people didn't want to fight now, so she calmed down and said, Kaishui, what else do you have to say? Wind and Rain, everyone knows that we will fight sooner or later, but before the fight, we'd better stand in line. Kaishui said and glanced at the Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang, as well as the immeasurable Buddha and others who have returned. There was a curse in everyone's hearts, and they knew that the old guy hadn't acted well. However, this sentence did arouse the attention of Fengyu Demon Lord, and he also glanced at everyone, especially the 2 of Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha. Tier 4 top emperors, there are only less than 10 in the entire eastern quarter of the universe. This is an absolute top combat power, especially Tier 5 emperors have not returned, and their Aeon cannot be ranked in the peak power. Marrow, mainly because of the eternal treasure, if you can win 2 Tier 4 top emperors at this time, you will be able to stabilize the Kaishui alliance when there is a fight in the future. If this is the case, then you all express your opinion. I absolutely welcome those who are willing to come to my Aeon. My master will return soon. In the end, the battle for the Temple of the Gods will still be the choice of the fifth-order emperors. You have to consider it carefully. The Wind and Rain Demon Lord said with some threats and warnings. It was not only to Zhen Wuyang and the others, but also to shake the confidence within the Kaishui alliance. The fifth-order emperor is heaven to them, irreversible existence. If in the end they get nothing, and offend the fifth-order emperor, it is better to take refuge in the Aeon as soon as possible. Kaishui Traveler snorted coldly, and his expression was a bit embarrassing, and he glanced at the real Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha, and then looked at the powerhouses in the Kaishui alliance. I won't hide you guys either. The Changsheng Shengshan of the Northern Territory has contacted me secretly. They still have a position of the supreme guest if I am willing to take refuge at any time, but I will give up. Chishui's voice was generous, and then he said loudly, none of us is not the proud child of heaven. It is not easy to practice, and we still have to be oppressed by the peak forces. Don't be fooled by their rhetoric. If you take refuge in these pinnacle forces at this time, you will be cannon fodder if you go. Even if the fifth-order emperor returns and grabs the Temple of the Gods, you really believe that they will share the meat with you with no background, no strength juniors? Don't dream now, the chance is grabbed, not allocated. Kaishui Traveler shouted angrily, and he actually bluffed several lonely emperors with ideas. However, most of what he said was true. At this time, he would take refuge in the pinnacle power, that is, a cannon fodder. In the future, he will get the Temple of the Gods, and the Fifth Order Emperor will pick first, and then a group of disciples and grandchildren, then they will be given their turn. Although Wind and Rain Demon Lord is the leader of one party, he is not very good at talking. Seeing this situation, he can only briefly appease and describe the power of the Fifth Order Emperor. But the stronger the Fifth Order Emperor, the more afraid they are, afraid that they will not even have the ability to resist in the future. Zhen Wuyang secretly considered that he had no power and no background, and relied purely on his own strength. It would be a wise choice to take refuge in the Aeon at this time. With his strength, he is second only to Wind and Rain in the Aeon existence. Even if you are a cannon fodder, you still have the strength to save your life. As for the Kaishui alliance, he didn't think about it. One is because the distribution of benefits is not suitable for him, and the other is that Kaishui Traveler may run away at any time, which is too unreliable. Wind and Rain dominate. Under Zhen Wuyang, I am willing to enter the Aeon. After Zhen Wuyang has considered it clearly, he will pay directly to Fengyu Demon Lord without any ink marks. Even the Demon Lord has also been replaced by a more comfortable master. Chapter 51-55. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign Zhen Wuyang, you can think about it clearly. You are only going to seek refuge in the Aeon Tower alone. They will definitely squeeze you out. It's better to join me in the Kaishui alliance. Tongtian Buddha shouted anxiously, apparently from outsiders. Care about the look of your friends. Only Zhen Wuyang and Six Crows knew that this Tongtian Buddha was definitely not at ease. Zhen Wuyang, you, alas. Kaishui Traveler was cunning, how could he not know the mind of the Buddha, and he sighed. Zhen Wuyang, your choice is very wise. I swear by Wind and Rain that I will never let you go to death if you lose. In the future, if the master returns, I will also recommend you to see my master, and your DACU I will also be protected by the Aeon Tower. Fengyu Demon Lord is always pragmatic and directly gave Zhen Wuyang a reassurance. What Tongtian Buddha saw was envious and jealous, but he still couldn't show it. He is not like Zhen Wuyang alone, who can choose at will. If he is also a person, he will also choose the Aeon. Let alone the future, he will talk about the present form. Following the Wind and Rain is definitely more reliable than following the Kaishui Traveler. But behind him, there are a large group of emperors and Dayan immortals, who can only go to the Kaishui alliance, and according to the alliance's interests, he can also take advantage. Zhen Wuyang heard Fengyu Demon's promise, and repeatedly thanked him. Thank you for the rule of the Wind and Rain, I will dominate the front and back of the horse in the next day. What this said was also extremely popular with Wind and Rain Demon Lord. Although he is in the Aeon Tower, the power in the hands of several Tier 4 top emperors under his command is not small. These emperors are all old subordinates of the Emperor Zhutian, and she is not easy to suppress. Now that Zhen Wuyang joins, she naturally wants to win Zhen Wuyang into his confidant. Several veterans in the Aeon can also be contained in the future. Zhen Wuyang moved directly to the Aeon Tower. His position was close to the ruler of the Wind and Rain, but he was half a step slower than the other Tier 4 top emperors, in order to show respect. A few old brand powerhouses of the Aeon, although they don't know much about Zhen Wuyang, but now they seem to be people who are aware of current affairs, they have leaked smiles and congratulated them. Kaishui League Master, I am willing to bring the strong under his command into the alliance. Tongtian Buddha's expression was extremely sincere, and he brought everyone into the hall of the Kaishui alliance. This is not surprising, Tongtian is indeed suitable for the Kaishui alliance, and when Zhen Wuyang said to take refuge in the Aeon, he expressed his stance. The powerhouses in the world of Tongtian Buddhism have no choice at all and can only follow Tongtian Buddha. Even if they have the choice, their strength is so weak that no one would appreciate it. It is better to follow the Tongtian Buddha, with the shelter of the Fourth Order Emperor, at least not to be bullied in the Kaishui alliance. The Kaishui alliance is extremely large, and the number of powerhouses is more than that of the Aeon. However, the top powerhouses are evenly divided. As a Tier 4 top powerhouse, the Kaishui Alliance is also a super powerhouse that can be ranked in the top 3. This made the powerhouses in the world of Tongtian Buddhism also dazzled, and they were directly arranged at the top of Kaishui Hall as soon as they took refuge, second only to the other top powers. Although the Tongtian Buddha has a Tier 4 top combat power, the forces under his command failed to reach the top power, which is barely a big power. This is also because the Tongtian Buddha is powerful. If there is no Tongtian Buddha, their seats would not be so forward. After the two of them stood in line, everyone's eyes became sharp. Or, kill the two of them first. Kaishui Walker looked at Liu Crow and Dao Gong, who were bound. Feng Yu Morjuan also nodded, expressing his approval. Liu Ya and Dao Gong, the two inheritors of the Temple of the Forbidden Gods, are reluctant to say a specific message in the Temple of the Forbidden City. You scumbags, you don't deserve to be bestowed by a great god, a group of superficial ways and deeds, and you dare to kill me. Dao Gong was a little crazy. In the ancient times, they were unwilling to bow their heads to Zhen Wuyang. Now it is the same. Since they can't get it, no one should try to get the Temple of God. The light that swallowed the avenue instantly covered his whole body, and he had to carry a few cushions when he died. Boom. A power no less than Donglin's dominating self-destruction instantly swept the entire void. Enter the Aeon Tower, hurry. Feng Yu Mojan's face turned pale, and he hurriedly collected some second-tier and third-tier monarchs behind him into the Aeon. As for the Fourth-Order Emperor, he has already teleported to a distant place. Although Dao Gong's self-detonation can't kill them, it will also cause them to be injured. At this time, it is the critical moment to compete for the Temple of Discrimination. The second and third steps of the Aeon Tower are sheltered, and the many powerhouses in the Kaishui Temple are miserable. No matter how the Kaishui traveler took shelter, countless powerful air currents rushed into the Kaishui Hall, killing a large number of Dayan immortals, and several unlucky First-Order emperors fell. After a few breaths, Dao Gong's aura completely disappeared. This time he really fell. We'll never have the opportunity to recover anymore, and the original power of the Avenue's tilt has also turned into Yanli returns to the origin of the universe. With the lessons learned from the past, Kaishui Traveler and Feng Yu Demon rushed to Liu Crow for the first time. Don't force me, don't forget that this is my dojo. Liu Crow shouted angrily, and with the help of the Origin in the Great Desolation, he broke free from the shackles, and then held the Origin of the Great Desolation in one hand and the Desolate Avenue in the other. Kaishui Walker's figure paused. Dao Gong was just an ordinary Tier 4 Emperor. Liu Crow touched the top Tier 4 Emperor, and controlled the Great Wilderness. He was the Dao ancestor of this place. If he blew himself up, they would also have to be injured. Why do you have to kill me? I can take refuge in either of you, and I can talk about it. Liu Ya frowned. He had already died once, and he didn't want to die again. He couldn't tolerate the slightest difference in the accumulation of billions of years. He gave up the devouring Tao of the Chishan and took control of the Great Wilderness. He was different from himself in the Wangu era. He just wanted to survive now, and then became stronger with the help of the Chishan Temple. He didn't dare to hope to become the Lord of the Universe, and he was satisfied to be able to become a Fifth-Order Emperor. This is also the reason why he gave up the road of Chishan. Oh, what are you going to talk about? Kaishui Traveler asked with great interest. If Liu Crow can really tell some useful information, it's not impossible not to kill it. Mainly, the two of them are different from Zhen Wuyang Tongtian Buddha. Liuya and Dao Gong are both inheritors of the Chishan Temple, and they don't want to say anything. If it is kept in case they enter the Chishan Temple again and run away with the Chishan Temple, when the time comes, they are in big trouble. They can feel the power of the Chishan Temple. If they want to leave, let alone them, even the Fifth-Order Emperor can't stop it. When the flesh of the mouth flies, when the Fifth-Order Emperor returns, he must kill them. Chapter 51-56. WN Dao Sword Sovereign. After all, the Temple of Chishan has never stopped, and has never heard of an inheritor. This opportunity is the only one in countless chaos era. Liu Crow, you can talk about it. If it is useful to us, it is not impossible to spare your life. Fengyu Morjuan also stopped his figure. The two looked at Liu Crow together, afraid of what he would do. Two people, the Temple of Chishan is not as good as you think. Liu Ya swallowed, and said everything in the Temple of Chishan. Just as he said, there is really no benefit in the Temple of Chishan. The only benefit may be the Tao of the Chishan, which is very powerful. As long as you cultivate to a certain level, the Lord of the Universe is by no means asking the Tao, but the key question is that he doesn't think there are people able to reproduce the avenue of the gods and reach the top of the universe. I know so much. If I don't believe it, then I can only blow myself up. Kai Shui and Fengyu were silent. If it was what Liu Crow said, it seemed that Chishan Temple didn't need emperors like them to come, but those Dian immortals would just be there. This was just a little help for her Dao. In the crevice of the void, Wu Zue, who was hiding in it, watched all this quietly, and sneered, "Yes, it's not suitable for you at all. Get out of here. When the trial begins, even if these people go in, they won't get much." From Wu Zue's point of view, these people's aptitudes are too bad, and they won't be valued by the true spirits at all. Fengyu, what do you think? Kai Shui looked at the Fengyu demon lord, who really didn't know what to do now. Obviously they are a little disappointed in the Temple of the Gods. What they want to hear is not this, but how powerful the Temple of the Gods is. They even hope that the 6 crows will explode in place. Only then will they be more sure that the treasures of the Temple of the Gods are amazing and force the inheritors to explode, not willing to say any useful information. But none of this has progressed as they imagined. Leave him alive for the time being, but he wants to be suppressed in my Aeon Tower. Don't you have any comment? Fengyu Demon Lord said lightly. Kai Shui Walker also understands that in case of a business trip, the pool is not good for anyone. Although Liu Crow is not right, since they have inherited the Temple of Chishan for so many years, let alone the 5th Order Emperor, even the 4th Order top failed to cultivate one, either they were useless, or the Chishan Temple was really not as powerful as the legend. This is natural, the Aeon Tower has infinite power, just to suppress this person, so as not to make any mistakes. Kai Shui Traveler smiled slightly. The relationship between the two has also been eased. Liu Crow breathed out even more, at least he saved his life. But thinking back to them, it didn't take long for these talents to recover, and he was the only one who died, and it was a bit sad. If you know that this will happen, you might as well take refuge in Zhen Wuyang in the Wangu era. With Zhen Wuyang's amazing talents, maybe they are all Tier 5 emperors at this time, and they can also protect them. Maybe their strength is stronger than now. Many. All this is to blame for the Daogong. A person who really regards the gods as gods is a mad believer at all, just like the head of the monk in the world of the Buddha, and stubborn. The 6 crows, who had seen everything, smiled slightly at Zhen Wuyang when they entered the Aeon Tower. From the smile, Zhen Wuyang could feel that Liu Crow was sincere. With this smile, the last lingering light of Daisy Yuang's ancient times also completely dissipated. Zhen Wuyang didn't feel like it. After all, he was a strong man in the Great Siyu. Although he hated these old guys in his heart, but now the only surviving emperor in ancient times was suppressed by the Aeon, and he also took refuge in the Aeon. How sad. It would be great if he could control the Temple of Qi in the ancient times. Even if these emperors were able to make him a messenger in the Temple of Chishan, he would not suppress them all and go to the present situation. Since then, the ancient times have not been there, and Dacu has also entered the era of Aeon Shelter, and his Zhen Wuyang has also become a powerhouse on the Aeon side. And the entire universe is also changing at this moment. The ancient Malay has long since disappeared, and the Age of Ease where countless chaos eras have been deposited is also shattered at this moment. Now the Age of the Gods will begin. A looming aurora shot out from the Temple of Chishan, and an ancient call spread throughout the universe. The creatures in every corner are aware of the call at this moment. It was the brilliance of ancient times, and a huge picture appeared in the minds of these creatures. At this moment, all the evangelists in the universe have taken a step, stepping into the world of the gods. In the Temple of Chishan. To outsiders, the Chishan Temple is divided into internal and external halls, but it is not. The outer hall of the Chishan was born automatically from the origin of the Chishan temple after the fall of the Chishan, and it contains the ways of the Chishan and the three gods. Today's Chishan temple is already a universe. Not only does it contain the origin of the universe, but it can also continuously create subsidiary worlds. These subsidiary worlds are the outer temples. These outer halls are connected with the inner halls, and the inner halls can be regarded as the true temples of the gods, but the inner halls are only the tip of the iceberg of the temples, and the real core is the main hall of origin. The origin of the universe is incomparably magnificent. It carries the movement of the entire universe. As for the practitioner, it is nothing more than an additional product. Its power is beyond the imagination of the practitioner. This is why the Lord of the universe is so pitiful in the long river of time and space. Temple of Origin. The core of the Temple of Chishan, an old man with a looming figure is floating in the vortex of origin, holding an ancient book in one hand and behind the other. Unexpectedly, I actually fell asleep for so long, the ancient times are like last night. The illusory old man sighed while flipping through the ancient books. He is the true spirit of the Chishan temple, and at the same time a powerful existence that controls the origin of the entire Chishan temple. His strength is comparable to the Lord of the universe. This is also the reason why the Chishan temple is drifting in several long rivers of time and space, and the lords of the universe are not conquered. Master True Spirit, are you really ready to start the highest trial in the primitive universe? This seems to be different from the Master's arrangement back then. The spirit guard stood respectfully and bowed his head. He was indeed puzzled, but he was just a spirit guard, and at most he would come out to ask, the real treasurer of the entire temple of the gods is still the real spirit. Hearing his doubts, Zhenling said patiently, Arki, you don't understand that. The Master did not arrange it like that back then, but the Master also told me that letting things go is more than everything. Let's go with the flow. What do you mean? Achi the spirit guard was a little puzzled. Life is like a play, idiot. Zhenling cursed with a smile. Chapter 51-57. Wn Dao Sword Sovereign. As the true spirit of the Chishan temple, he also controls the power of the source. His wisdom surpasses the practitioner. Even if he sleeps for so long, he is still like life, with joys and sorrows, laughs and sorrow. If the spirit watcher was thoughtful, he was originally the servant of the old master. After the of Qi fell, he became a spirit watcher, guarding the tomb of the of Qi for many years, and there were 8 other people who existed like him. By the way, after those immortal capitals have been included in the attached world, they are temporarily prohibited from fighting. The creatures of this primitive universe are far from enough to initiate the highest trial. Zhenling said calmly, and the number of immortals from the primitive universe was not enough. Satisfaction. If these emperors know this, I am afraid they will be crazy instantly. The fairy of the entire primitive universe. Just say that the fairy tales in a big division can be counted in hundreds of millions. How much does the entire primitive universe cost? Yes, but the origins of other universes are too strong to be plundered. The guardian was a little cautious. After all, he was just a guardian. This time he was transferred out by Master Origin True Spirit and only then began to accept the management of some of the temples of the gods. He hadn't figured out many things now, and suddenly let him go to other universes to plunder the immortals, and he didn't know what to do. The fairy cultivating in the original universe is okay. He can use the phantom of the gods transformed by the source to directly move all the fairy cultivating to the affiliated world of the temple of the gods, but if he wants to go to the fairy cultivating in other universes, it will be troublesome. The origin of the primitive universe has been swallowed by the taboo demon lord. The origin is very weak. The universe origin of the Temple of Forbidding can suppress the opponent at will. Coupled with the acquiescence of the supreme rules, he can easily summon all the gods into the attached world, but others the origin of the universe is very complete, and the supreme rule has no emotion at all. Your original universe is going to be destroyed, and everything I should help, as for inserting my hand into other universes, don't even think about it. Anything can be changed. Since you can't take them all away, then take away those Qianjiao who have realized the third stage Dao. Isn't that 90% less? The universe that is too far away will plunder the second stage Tao. The evolving immortal that plunders the ultimate way no matter how far away. There is also the evolving immortal of that ultimate way in the universe. This should be very simple. As long as these people are taken away, the burden on you shouldn't be too big. Zhenling looked at the spirit guard. It's easy, but the adults are clever. Although the spirit guard is not good at it, he can still shoot. Haha, if you can do it, then go ahead. I have to think about how to deal with those Dian immortals and monarchs. Zhenling smiled and continued to look at the ancient book in his hand. The guardian immediately bowed and retired and left the Yuanyuan hall. In the vast source, only true spirit remained. He turned the book and frowned. This universe is really interesting. It's probably because of the taboo demon lord that so many Qianjiaros were born at the same time, Zhenling muttered to himself. Well, not bad. This list is finally made. Zhenling frowned and was quite satisfied with the list he made, and then directly reprinted all the contents of that ancient book on a huge stone monument. The stone stele exudes an ancient atmosphere. The surface of the stele is very smooth. Don't look at it as a stone stele. Its value is no less than a supreme eternal treasure. You must know that the only eternal treasure in the primitive universe, the Aeon Tower. It is a low grade. This is also the famous protection of Emperor Zhu. When he left, his apprentice and old subordinates were not worried, so he left an eternal treasure that could help him to his apprentice. In the long river of time and space, many fifth-order emperors did not have eternal treasures. When the Emperor Zhu was still a fourth-order emperor, he first entered the long river of time and space and received the remains of an ancient civilization. He not only obtained 3 eternal treasures. Zhibao also inherited the true biography of that existence, and directly became the fifth-order emperor, and was still an extremely powerful existence among the fifth-order emperors. This was the only way to generously leave the Aeon Tower to the apprentice. It also caused quite a stir that year. However, this kind of thing would not arouse the attention of the God Temple at all. Even if the treasure of the universe was born in the original universe, I am afraid that the true spirit would not blink. The ancient and powerful, the treasures of the universe are ashes-eating existences in the Chishan Temple, not to mention the eternal treasures. That is to say, some special gadgets will be used by the true spirits. As for the other treasures, they are all left to the inheritors. As for the gifts Liu Crow and others received, it was nothing more than a self-operating program within the Temple of Chishan, and the true spirit had not seen them directly. Zhenling was very satisfied with the stone tablet at this time. Although it was only the best eternal treasure, he still carefully re-engraved the name engraved on the book on the stone tablet. Wow! Zhenling waved his hand and the names of countless people appeared on the stone tablet. You have to give it a resounding name. The real spirit began to struggle. He will be satisfied with everything. This is also the reason for the delay in opening up the gods. Now the outside world is about to fight. He is still here to name a list. If this is to let the outside emperor know, I'm afraid I will scold my mother angrily. Today's outside world has indeed reached the point of tension. What? All the fairy gods have disappeared. The Taoist temple of the Tongtian Buddha is the closest to this place, even closer than the Great Siyu. Yu reading at www.ukanshu.com. He has just received a letter from his disciple, and all the immortals of the 3,000 great worlds have disappeared. If it were put in normal, it would be fine even after death, but when the temple of Chishan opened, all the fairy gods disappeared silently. This must be someone who did it against him. Leader, many of my disciples have sent letters to me, it is true. Tongtian Buddha said with some excitement. He understood the meaning of Tongtian. It was nothing more than suspicion that some emperors had used the 3 indiscriminate methods, and immediately jumped out of the hall. Wind and rain, explain it. Kaishui Walker looked angry. Tongtian just took refuge in him. This kind of thing happened. There must be someone secretly revenge, otherwise, who would be bored to kill all the immortals in the 3,000 worlds. Explanation? Is there anything I want to explain to you? Fengyu Demon Lord was a little puzzled. She didn't understand what other conspiracy and tricks this Scarlet Water Walker had done. Just as the two were at war, Zhen Wuyang also received a letter from Yu Chang, and the Yangxian in the Daisy domain disappeared. Zhen Wuyang Dang even reported this matter to the Wind and Rain Demon Lord. At this time, everyone exploded and received a letter from home world one after another, and all Yangxian disappeared. This must be done by Chishan Temple. Kai Shui Walker almost laughed. This is simply a big deal. All the fairy cultivators in the entire universe have disappeared. Let alone whether these fairy cultivators are still alive, just to say that this method is simply a masterpiece, and no emperor can do it. As for whether he died or not, Kai Shui really didn't care. An ancient breath suddenly rose. The breath was emitted from the Temple of Chishan, but it appeared in the void of the entire universe. A huge stone monument descended from the void, and people in the entire universe could see it. Universal Gods and Demons List. Chapter 51-58. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign Primitive Universe. Countless practitioners looked up at the starry sky, and the huge stone stele was like two stars of yin and yang, which could be seen by practitioners anywhere. At the same time, those Yangxian who stepped into the subordinate world of the Chishan Temple also saw that list. The universe of gods and demons is divided into heaven, earth, and man. Tianbang corresponds to the emperor and strong, the earth list corresponds to Dianxian, and the human list naturally corresponds to those Yangxian. However, the current immortal Yang has been taken into the subordinate world of the Temple of Chishan. As for immortal Dian has already escaped from the shackles of the world, the Temple of the Chishan cannot do a big surprise, but with such a great opportunity, even if you don't take it, these Dian immortals will also come by themselves. As for the Emperor, let alone, they are all beyond the universe, no one can control them, but they are also more eager for the Temple of the Gods. The ranking of the three lists, from top to bottom. There are tens of thousands of strong emperors on the Tianban. This list is arranged according to the strong in the original universe. If there are emperors from other universes, they will also be accurately judged by the gods and demons and enter the list. This is the ultimate eternal treasure, not only has unlimited power, but also can accurately calculate the strength of the emperor. Look, there is the name of the ancestor on the sky list. The Big Dream girl standing behind the Big Dream ancestor shouted in surprise. This shout made everyone's eyes catch up. Dream Dao ancestor, the 97th in the sky ranking, the fourth tier top comes from the middle world Big Dream world. In addition to the name, there is a series of introductions below, and even the world of strength and Taoism are clearly marked. Another place in the Great Wilderness. Jian Wushuang and the others also discovered this list, but they didn't have time to read it. If the emperor of the world of Tongtian Buddhism does not come again, they will all fall here today. Brother Jiuyu, when will the assisting emperor arrive? We really can't stand it. The Jinghong Tianjiao of Dongyang realm, panting heavily, they have been fighting with those ghosts for a day. The energy in the body has been exhausted. If it hadn't been for this time because of the gods, they had replaced all their belongings with pill, they would have all fallen. Now that the medicine is finished, the reinforcements will not come, and they can only fall here today. In addition to dealing with these ghosts, some of them have to protect the two oil bottles, Jian Wushuang and Hua Qing. Luo Shui, you come back to me, you don't have to protect those two wastes, hurry up and take my place, I can't hold on to it anymore. Jiuyu didn't pay attention to him at all. He could only give up Hua Qing and Jian Wushuang. Now it's a matter of life and death. Even if the emperor will blame him in the future, he can still defend himself. After all, the road is difficult to walk, and he has achieved the 9th revolution consummation Dian immortal. It is not easy to practice all the way, and he can't die for others just because of a word from the emperor. If he knew that Emperor Dongyang had fallen, he didn't know whether it would be happy or sad. The situation on Luo Shui's side is also not very good, although the powerful ghosts are all those Dian immortals who have completed the 9th rank, but she still has to deal with two 9th rank ghosts here, although she is only a 4th rank road. Can deal with these two 9th rank ghosts without any consciousness, they can still barely deal with it. But at this time it was also very difficult for her to get away, The things that the emperor explained were naturally greater than the Tianjiao of the East Yang world. How can you give up what the emperor explained? Luo Shui's voice was soft, but with a strong voice, he dealt with the two ghosts wholeheartedly after speaking, and ignored the Tianjiao. Jian Wushuang hid behind Luo Shui, but his eyes were fixed on the list of cosmic gods and demons, and Hui Qing did the same. The two of them had planned to help, but they happened to see the list of gods and demons, and they were stunned on the spot for a while. This sudden appearance of the stone tablet made everyone stunned for a moment, not knowing what happened, but these people were desperately looking at it at this time, and they fell into the fight again. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing have their eyes fixed on the list of universe gods and demons. I don't know whether it was because of their own induction or the universal gods and demons list that helped them lock their rankings, which caused them to see their names at first sight. Hui Qing, rank 6 Dian Immortal, 160 million, from the higher world, the world of Tongtian Buddhism. Higher world. It seems that before not knowing it, the Tongtian Buddha has restored the origin of the heavens. Hui Qing's eyes narrowed. This list can reveal the true strength of many people. For example, Tongtian Buddha is now not the ancestor of Taoism, but the ruler. He himself is ranked 160 million. This ranking is already very high in the entire universe, especially when he is only rank 6 Dian Immortal. Most of the ranks ahead of him are rank 9 Consummation, only a few. Count to 9 turns Dian Immortal. Jian Wushuang's ranking here is about the same as Hui Qing's, but he is only ranked 3. At the same time, many powerhouses have paid attention to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, ranked 166,784,099, the third realm of Dian Immortal, from the Middle World Big Division domain. Rank 3 Dian Immortal can actually be ranked at the position of 160 million www.mtl Novell. This makes many Dian Immortals start to wonder if the list is wrong. We must know that almost all of the top 500 million Dian Immortals are rank 9, only a few of them are rank 6 Dian Immortals. Which one of these is not shocking Tianjiao, especially rank 6 Dian Immortals that can be ranked in the top 200 million? They are all the peerless Tianjiao of the ultimate way. But a tier 3 Dian Immortal actually ranked 160 million, which made everyone couldn't believe it. The names on the list are endless, but only the top 1 trillion shows the rankings. In the top 1 trillion, there are no more than 10% of Dian Immortals at the level 3, and most of them are at the 6th level. One can imagine how exaggerated Jian Wushuang's ranking is. Jian Wushuang himself was not surprised by the rankings. He knew very well that his strength was much stronger than rank 9 Dian Immortal, and much weaker than rank 9 Perfection. Look up and keep seeing the top. The information of hundreds of millions of people all appeared in their minds. This kind of memory is easy for Jian Wushuang at the Dianxian level, and even Yangxian can do it easily. Luo Shui rank 9 Dian Immortal ranks more than 400 million. Jian Wushuang shook his head with a wry smile. His eyes were not on the ordinary Dian Immortals at all, he was directly concerned with the top 10,000 rankings. Jiuyu, ranked 456, with the 9th revolution of the realm of the great Dian Immortal, from the higher world of the Buddha realm. Jian Wushuang was still quite surprised at this ranking. He didn't expect Jiuyu to be so powerful. Although he heard that he merged several DAOs, this was the ranking of the entire universe, and he could actually rank in the top 500. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.